there's a lot of misconceived ideas about science in the part of the public, and that's very hard to address sort of as a practicing scientist, in part because interaction with the public is mediated via the media, and many of whom, and especially anything that's kind of a controversial issue, it's often mediated via political journalists rather than the science journalists. The political journalists know absolutely nothing about the science,
yeah.
and the science journalists are mostly pretty good and make a real effort to understand and communicate bits of science that might be of interest to the public, competent. One of the first times I wrote something about this that was in a newspaper was for the Independent, and I wrote what I thought was reasonably balanced bit of text, and it's still on the web. And the title I was assigned was "Why I'm Happy to Play God with Your Food," and I thought that's really helpful. So it's exasperating that it gets portrayed as this devilish undertaking, but what actually I think is quite good is how in the last couple of years I do feel the tide of public opinion has changed. Of course, it's very hard to know what, in the same ways my scientific narratives are mediated to the public. What the media think is mediated back to me. So I'm kind of guessing at what the people think. And you've got Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth saying this is what the public think, they don't want it, etc. And you've got the journalists, the responsible journalists, BBC, even Guardian these days, Observer, etc. Because they are now giving a fair account of the technology and allowing the scientists to explain themselves without being vilified. I think that the public is, for the most part, accepting that this really isn't such a bad technology to move forward with.
Not when you need